two-factor theory, that thing I mentioned earlier. Frederick Herzberg came up, he's a psychiatrist who studies psychology and business, psychologist, studies psychology and business, and this theory, this two-factor theory, is kind of a practical application. Have you heard of Maslow's hierarchical needs theory, where it's not a hierarchy, by the way. You have these things at the top, you can be pursuing them at the same time as you're pursuing some of these things lower down. Yes, if your life is in immediate danger, you are not worried about being at one with the universe. You're worried about getting away. But you can, once you get beyond the fundamental needs of self-preservation, then this supposed hierarchy of needs isn't really a hierarchy. Most of us are pursuing things at all the levels at the same time. But Herzberg discovered some interesting facts about satisfaction and dissatisfaction. Ask the average small business operator, big business operator, somebody who has employees that they have to pay, what would make your employees happier? What do they say?
More money.
More money.
Recognition.
The smart ones, the 2 smart ones, will say recognition. The 98 others will say more money. Well, unless they are woefully underpaid, that's not true. And there are a million words for happy or not. I'm going to go with satisfied and dissatisfied. Traditional thinking is that, if my workers are dissatisfied, in order to make them satisfied, I will pay them more money. The reason that Herzberg's theory is called the two-factor theory is that dissatisfaction and satisfaction are not a single continuum that runs from one side to the other. They're 2 different things. Dissatisfaction, that's a bucket. If people are unhappy, again, going back to the hierarchy of needs, if you don't have enough food to eat, you don't care about a lot of other things. If you're sleeping outside, you're not worried about being at one with the universe. You're not worried about your productive value to society, or if you got to watch a good movie tonight. You're worried about, how do I function? So up to a certain point, we have to have dissatisfaction dealt with. But once that bucket of dissatisfaction is full of water, and now we become not satisfied, we are not dissatisfied. It's kind of like the kid that gets beat up at school all the time, and he says, yeah, but it feels so good when they stop. Okay, he's not really happy. It's just when something painful stops happening, we're glad that the painful thing stopped happening. But an absence of pain does not equal joy. If your employees don't get paid enough, well, yeah, fill the bucket up, for crying out loud. Pay them enough. If they can't see when they go into the bathroom and they're tripping over the broken porcelain, give them working conditions that they can stand. But once you have filled the bucket and they actually have their fundamental needs met, that they have a comfortable, safe place to work, they're getting paid a fair wage, they've got a place that they can work, that they don't have some active negatives making them unhappy, and this also applies to customers, which is why it's important here. Once you've gotten rid of the negatives, once you've filled up the not dissatisfied bucket, trying to pile on more water isn't going to buy you anything. Employees who, they're getting paid enough, you're not going to give them joy. You're not going to make them happier by paying them more money. It's counterintuitive. Most of us think, well, more money is going to make me happier. But in their job, unless they are underpaid, paying them more money without having a reason to pay them more money, more money is not inherently bad, but it's not, all by itself, going to move them along this continuum to happy, joyful workers who love to be working for you, because piling more money on is just how you fill up this not satisfied bucket, and once it's full, it's full. So now we get down to, like Andrew said, recognition. you want to start piling into the basket, this other container, you can pile it up to the sky. And one of the biggest things is recognition. People, it's been said that, a man won't sell you his life, but he'll give it to you for a little piece of ribbon. People love recognition. If you want to learn about, and this works not just with employees, but it works with customers. Recognizing customers is huge, and all of these things apply also. Customers, if you can taking away their fear of buying, taking away their fear of working with you, does not, in and of itself, make for a positive customer experience. All it means is you're not going to have a negative customer experience. Well, that's not good enough, because that's just as good as the next guy, because I'm not afraid of you is not a reason to do business. But you make me feel really good about myself, you make me feel smart, and you make me feel successful, and you make me realize that I have a unique place in the universe and that I've got something to offer. So, yeah, now I want to do business with you because, you got rid of my dissatisfaction by taking away the fear, but now you've given me all this recognition, the respect that Jerry talks about. Now I feel so good. Now, not only have we filled the bucket, but you're piling it down to the basket. And the thing is, it's hard to pile the basket up too full. Giving someone sincere commendation, sincere recognition, as long as it's sincere, it's really hard to overdo it. I believe it was Jack Welch of GE, or no, it was IBM. Now his name's gone.
Thomas Watson.
Thank you. Thomas Watson Jr. He walk around the floor. He was one of the early proponents of management by walking around. But he'd find someone doing something that was just exactly right. He'd whip out his checkbook right now, write him a check for $100 or whatever seemed feasible, and hand it to him. And he'd say, "You're what we need." He was in his office once having his lunch, and one of his junior executives burst in and said, "I just figured out why it's not working. This is what we've got to do." And Watson said, "You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. You nailed it." And he looks around, doesn't have his checkbook, and he picked up the banana from his lunch and gave it to him. And now, do you think that this executive said, "That's stupid, I want $100. He walked out and he walked around the floor and said, he gave me his banana right out of his own lunch because I was so good. They instituted the Golden Banana Award, and you literally got, for a brilliant idea, your immediate supervisor was authorized to give you a banana. But if you were eating a banana for lunch and people knew you didn't bring one from home, you were a hero at IBM for a while. Because of the recognition. A banana's worth about $0.25 now. Back then it was probably worth 3 cents. It's the recognition. So, fill the bucket up, and the bucket leaks a little bit. The bucket always leaks a little bit, and it gets bumped and it sloshes over. So check the bucket. Make sure that with your customers, your prospects, your suspects, with your employees, if you have them, with your vendors, anyone you do business with, make sure that the bucket hasn't leaked a little. Top it up when you need to, but then don't waste time removing dissatisfaction that no longer exists. Fill up the dissatisfied bucket so that they are not dissatisfied, and then spend your time building something positive with greater recognition or with greater autonomy. Self-direction is huge. Letting your customers choose where they go and you're guiding them rather than telling them you got 2 choices and they're both black. So giving people something that really adds value to them is going to pile onto the basket. Keep the bucket full, pile onto the basket, and people will love you.